When you look at what Sam Presti has done, he has been the real architect here. And, of course, they have SGA and Chet Holmgren. They've drafted well. But the moves, the pieces that are in place, like Chuck was talking about, Hartenstein and Caruso. I remember last year when they went and got Caruso and then later Hartenstein signing him, it was just like, man, these are such great complementary pieces. And those guys are always a part of any championship team. Of course, you have stars, and then you have the guys that know their roles, and they play those roles so very well. And look, you can make a very similar argument about the Pacers, no question about it. But when you talk about the Thunder, no team has been constructed, I feel like, so beautifully as Oklahoma City.
Well, especially if defense does win championships, because this is a team that's built around defense. And of course, you have an MVP leading the way offensively when it comes to SGA. So you're right. This has been a team that has been crafted carefully by their ownership. And now it's finally paying off. But let's talk about this game for a second, because as good as the Thunder are, we have been paying a premium on the Thunder for most of the season, just because they're a team that has, all these runaway wins, best run differential. I'm thinking about baseball, best points differential when it comes to these. And they've been really good, especially at home. So these are some trends that are going to be hard to go against. But listen, how many times have people been wrong on the Indiana Pacers so far this season? In fact, in that series against Cleveland, there was like a list of like 20 ESPN writers, and they asked him to choose who they think was going to come out of that series. Every single one of them picked the Cavs. Not a single one picked the Pacers. So I think it's difficult here because, yes, the Thunder are good, but how many times are we going to be proven wrong by the Pacers and the fact that they belong here? And when you're giving them this many points, like what's the spread for game one? 9.5 points. I've even laid this number before. I remember the first game of the series between the Thunder and the Nuggets, and I said to myself, okay, the Nuggets are going to be outclassed. They're going to be tired. The Thunder have a really deep rotation. And then the Nuggets won that game outright. And looking at the Pacers, they've been really good in a lot of these game ones. In fact, each of their last two series, game one, they've been underdogs, and they won each of those games outright. So I think I'm leaning towards taking the points with the Pacers here, just because 9.5 is a lot of points.
Yeah, it is. Right now, I'm leaning Thunder, but I reserve the right to change this. Maybe by the end of the show, but definitely by tomorrow. I just don't know at this point because it is such a large number. And I wonder, what I think is these are two similar teams. They're going to run with each other. And I think because of that, we see that, we expect a high-scoring game, the total set at 230 and a hook. But also, when you have two teams that are willing to go back and forth with one another, then I think maybe it lends itself to a closer game. I think Tyrese Halliburton will have to be more aggressive with his shot taking and shot making, because in the two previous meetings this season, he really wasn't that player. He was more willing to distribute. But I think to keep up with Oklahoma City, he's going to have to produce. But ultimately, I can't decide if the Thunder are just going to overwhelm the Pacers because of that defense, or if the Pacers have the depth to hang with Oklahoma City, because they've hung with everyone. I almost want to say, too, to your point, taking the points or leaning to taking the points with the Pacers, is that it feels like throughout this entire postseason, Vegas still hasn't respected the Pacers. And like even now, this is a big number. I think I might lean Oklahoma City, but then I keep thinking about it, and I'm like, haven't we been treating Indiana like a redheaded stepchild the entire time? Like here they are, game one, they performed well in game ones. They've taken out Boston. They've taken out the Knicks. They were the underdogs in both of those series. And yet here they are still, again, 9.5-point dogs in game one. The more I talk this out, the more I might be with you.
Well, I think not the only sabotage factor, but one of the sabotage factors is that we've seen some of these games, especially when Oklahoma City is involved, sometimes they just fall in one direction or the other. Like going back to the Pacers, they either win a game outright or, as underdogs, or they lose and they don't cover the number. Like it feels like there's no in between. Like either they lose in a blowout or they win as like 8.5-point dogs. So like maybe there's a case in there where if the Thunder win, they're probably going to cover, because the number hasn't really mattered. Like I'm looking at each of the instances in which the Pacers covered as underdogs, and all those are outright wins. So maybe I should be making the argument for the Pacers on the money line at plus 310 or nothing.
Do it. Do it. Do it, Chelsa. Oh, you'd be a legend.
But do you get what I'm saying?
What's that?
It's like the number hasn't mattered for the Pacers. It's like either they win outright or they lose and they get blown out.
Well, that's actually a very good point. That Thunder defense is so good. It's going to be fascinating, too, and we can get more into the weeds when we talk about this game tomorrow. But the Thunder's perimeter defense is so very good, and it shuts down a lot of teams. But then conversely, the Pacers are very effective from long range. In some ways, it's strength versus strength there. I'm telling you, the more I talk about this, the more you're talking me into maybe taking the points with the Pacers. I have to look at this game even more deeply than I have. And this is just sort of my residual thinking before we go into more of a deeper dive tomorrow. But the more I talk this out, the more I think, man, 9.5 is a lot for a finals game.
Yeah, but we've seen some of these games kind of get away from teams late in the game, so I don't know. There is nothing wrong with sitting out the first game of the series. Maybe we sit and wait, and then we bet on game 2.